The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by the SGPN app. Get all of our free picks and podcasts in one convenient app. Download the SGPN app today. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice on the guys, me, really feeling right, Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. All right. I'm back, by the way. We have the two best words in all of sports entertainment going on here. Game 7. Game 7 today versus the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers, tipping off a little bit later, but we are here breaking down 2 Game 7s for Sunday, both in the Eastern Conference. All 3 of these Game 7s in the Eastern Conference. I can't wait to break it all down. And I got my guy with me, Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beat me up.
Surprise.
Yeah, doing pretty well. I can't complain. Looking forward to the Game 7 tonight, and we have the Game 7s in basketball tomorrow and hockey. Lightning have Game 7 tomorrow as well. So a lot of very competitive series in different sports, fun stuff. Kentucky Derby today as well, not to mention the Yankees are winning. So overall, entertaining weekend for me. Looking forward to it.
Yep, very, very entertaining. And there's a lot that I want to talk about, Scott. We'll talk about what happened in Game 6 for these 4 teams before we give our actual analysis of the game. But first, I want to make sure that I remind everybody that today's the Derby, and it's not too late. Go check out Sports Gambling Podcast. Make sure you go look at all the Kentucky Derby picks they give you over there at Sports Gambling Podcast on YouTube. Make sure you go check it out. And you can get a free Derby $25 bet plus a $200 deposit match for new members at nyrabets.com. All you got to do is go to nyrabets.com/SGPN25. That's nyrabets.com/SGPN25 and bet the Derby. All right. First game up. And I mean, Game 6 for the Orlando Magic was like a travesty.
Well, the second half was a tale of two halves.
And yes, Scott, that's a great way to put it. The tale of two halves, because it just was abysmal. It was, what did it say? The largest comeback in the second half in NBA playoff history. They shot 4 for 37 in the second half.
I don't know
1
if it was
for
the largest.
20.
I don't know if it was the largest in second half history, though, because the Clippers had that crazy comeback against the Durant Warriors where they were down like 37. But it was definitely up there. It was definitely up there. It's the worst fourth quarter of all time by a playoff team.
1 for 20 in the fourth quarter. They scored 19 points in the second half, the Orlando Magic.
Can you just say that again?
19 points in the second half, the Orlando Magic. In the NBA. So when somebody scores 19 points in a half in WNBA, I don't want to hear anything. Because the Orlando Magic did it in a closeout game. Well, it was a closeout game.
At home.
You cannot go at home. You cannot go back on the road. But, this shouldn't be surprising because this is also the same Orlando Magic team that lost to the Boston Celtics when they weren't playing anybody, and they had a chance to go to the playoffs and not even be in this whole situation. Like, there's a world where none of this happens in the parallel universes that exist because the Orlando Magic just went ahead and did what they're supposed to do and handle business against the Boston Celtics in the last game of the season when the Celtics weren't playing anybody. So this could be a tremendous collapse for the Orlando Magic in a playoff series. We are now tied up 3 games apiece. The Detroit Pistons are at home. Pistons laying 8.5. 203 is the total. Scott, I will give you your chance to talk about, your thoughts of the end of game 6. And let's go ahead and throw it out there because Bickerstaff talked about it at the end of the game. We need to use this momentum and carry that into game 7. Do the Pistons do it, and do they complete the 3-1 comeback?
Yeah, well, for the record, by the way, they missed 23 straight shots in the second half. They did not make a field goal for 45 minutes of real time. 45 minutes of no baskets, which is almost impossible. But yeah, it was a disgusting game. The funny part, though, is that Orlando did end up leading in the game by 24 points in the first half. And the Magic were so bad in the second half that people forgot that Detroit only scored a grand total of 12 points in the second quarter. Both teams were awful at separate points offensively. Detroit only scored 38 in the entire first half, but nobody cared because Orlando was so bad in the second half. Detroit buried them 31-8 in the fourth quarter. But yeah, it's a really weird game to predict because the question is pretty simple psychologically. Can Orlando actually respond from that? Or are they going to roll over? Franz already ruled out for this game, so offensively they're going to be limited anyway. But we know Franz, whether he's healthy or not, is their first or second best player, so it's going to be tough for them to actually score in this matchup. Now, Detroit did ramp up the defense. I know Dern went to the locker room with a finger issue at some point in the third quarter. Paul Reed was really good. They kind of pulled the plug on Stewart, and Reed gave him some good minutes off the bench. We'll see what happens in Game 7. But the issue is still the same. Both teams can't score the basketball. So now you're laying 8.5 with a team that also can't score, and you're kind of just picking Detroit's offense to be less terrible than Orlando's offense in Game 7. Do I want to lay 8.5 with Detroit? No. Do I trust Orlando to actually get 8.5 points? No. I think Mosley is guaranteed to get fired. You could argue that it's a job security game. Whichever coach loses this game might lose his job. So you might see what happens once again, come down to the wire, but I love the under in this game. I know that it's a Game 7 tax on the under. I really don't care. Once again, Orlando had 2 separate quarters scoring less than 12 points, and Detroit had a quarter only scoring 12. So I don't trust either offense to do anything in this game, and I think, once again, we might see a matchup for the third time in the series where neither team gets to 100 points. I love the under in this game. I see a low-scoring rock fight. If Orlando does roll over and completely punt Game 7 mentally, they might only score 80 points, and the game goes under anyway. So I'm on the under for this game. For the side, it's really tricky because Detroit's offense is also not good, and I'm not going to suddenly overreact to one really bad half and tell you, oh yeah, Detroit figured it out. No, they didn't. Orlando just couldn't make a shot for 45 minutes. So I'm on the under in this game, but I think from a side perspective, it's Detroit or pass, but I can't bet the side. Both these teams can't score. So why would I want to lay 8.5? It's a cop-out answer, but I really don't feel great laying 8.5 with Detroit. I'm going to ask you, is this an overreaction? Because 8.5 is a massive number when Detroit's been in a bunch of wars with Orlando all series.
Yeah, I think it's a massive number too. I think even though you want to, you probably have to do the same thing that you did in Game 5, which is take the points with Orlando and hope that is some type of backdoor cover like it was in Game 5. Detroit was kind of running away with it, and it seemed like, all the Detroit lay 10.5 people were, we told you they were going to win big, Then next thing you know, Orlando just kind of chips. And then you look up and, oh, crap, 7-point game. I think it's something similar to that where, yeah, Detroit probably looks great, probably comes out with some energy, and then it's just the death by 1,000 cuts or death by 1,000 misses. And next thing you know, it's, relatively close game. And yeah, I think Detroit's going to pull it out. Ultimately, I think that fourth quarter, when it comes back around to the fourth quarter, that's going to lean into everybody's head of, oh, we got to make sure that we have good shots and trying to overcompensate and remembering how bad that fourth quarter was. And they'll have a better fourth quarter this game, of course, but I just don't think that it'll be great. I think Cade Cunningham is kind of waking up, and this is probably going to be the moment. All eyes are going to be on this game. Everybody's watching. You're at home. You have a chance to make a historic comeback here and right the wrong that never should have been you ever being in this position in the first round in the first place. And then you get a date with the Knicks after that. So, I mean, not with the Knicks, but
No, they get the Cavs or the Raptors.
The
We don't
Cavs or
know who they're
Raptors.
playing.
But
there was a golden opportunity for all four teams playing on Sunday to make it to the conference finals. There's really a golden opportunity. So we'll see what happens. But you mentioned Cade.
Yeah, I'm on Orlando. I'm on Orlando.
I think it's a lot of points. Like, I think it's too many. I think it's an overreaction. I don't mind Orlando first half, actually. You mentioned Detroit coming out fast. I think Orlando's crunch time offense is so bad that they might just self-destruct again. We saw the last time they were in a game 7, they were against Cleveland. They were up by 19 in the first half. They blew the entire game. They ended up losing in game 7 on the road in Cleveland, but I've seen Boncaro and company get off to decent starts in game 7 before. The issue is pretty simple. Both offenses aren't very good. Franz is a guy who can give you a minimum of 15 points, and now Orlando has to recreate it in the aggregate because they are missing their second best player. On the other hand, though, which is the main reason why I think Detroit does win this series, no offense to Paolo, but Cade is easily the best player in the series. I don't think it's very close. Paolo's been showing up for some games. He was really bad in game 6. He was 4 of 20 from the floor. But Cade is the best player on the court. So if you want to go for a crunch time scenario of who you trust more with the ball in their hands, the answer is obviously Cade. So I'm picking Detroit to win. I didn't mind Detroit 1-10 in this game. Decent plus money option. I think Orlando's going to lose, but I think Detroit will be in a close game because I think it's going to be a rock fight. So give me some type of like 90-85 game, and we see a 1990 scoreline where Detroit wins at home. But I'll go with Detroit by basically 5. But I think that's going to be a closer game than people think. Everyone's writing off the Magic too quickly when the favorites in the series also cannot score the basketball. So I'm not going to suddenly tell. Like, Duran was still kind of an afterthought in the fourth quarter comeback because he got injured and he left early. His PR has been non-existent. He has still not figured it out in the series. There's a lot of reason to believe Detroit's offense might struggle at various portions of this game as well. So I'll go with the Magic as well, but I prefer the under. I just see a very low-scoring game.
Yeah, the defense is, I think, has been stepping up. So, all right. I'm on under.
I have to. Like, one of these teams might not reach 90 points.
Yeah, really nothing to talk about there. Game 7 unders, by the way, been really good. I feel like the unders here for game 7s have been high. And, in years past, you get to game 7, you see a total that's like 200, 199.
There's always a game 7 tax for the unders because they assume that the pace is going to be slower and there's going to be more physicality.
But this year it's not there.
Yeah.
It's not in the lines this year. These seem like the regular lines that we've been getting for majority of the series. So,
it's been a couple of points, though. It was what, like 206.5, 207.5 last game. So it dropped about 4 points here. Raptors game was like 220 last game? That game dropped by like 10 points. But we'll see. Once again, it's been close, but still a couple of points dropped.
What was it? I think it was the Celtics and Bucks in Boston. That total was at like 199.
That sounds about right.
So I'm like, wow. Was expecting different.
Celtics Boston, that was the Grant Williams game?
Yeah.
Okay. That was years ago, but yeah.
Good little minute. Okay. Player props.
You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You can go ahead.
All right. I actually liked fading Desmond Bane, RA here. He has been kind of an afterthought when it comes to the rebounding and the assisting, especially since Paolo needs the ball in his hands all the time. Suggs has the ball a lot, more than he should. But his RA is at 7.5. I'll go with the under on that. He has been going under regularly in this series, and I think that this number is a pretty good price. You're looking at the actual hit rate for this under. He's had less than 8 RA in 9 of the last 10, less than 7 RA in 5 of his last 6 road games. Bane might shoot a lot, but if you're picking a low-scoring game anyway, I don't see many assists, and the rebounding hasn't been there for him all series. So I didn't mind the Bane under 7.5 RA. However, there was a plus money play that I really liked. Might even be a ladder opportunity. Asar blocks. 1.5 was around plus 148. I think it's dropped now to like plus 130. He's had 2+ blocks in 4 straight games. He had 4 blocks in game 6, and the Magic are allowing 10 blocks per game this postseason, which is the most in the entire league, mainly because they can't shoot. So I thought Asar's blocks were way too low. Once again, 2+ and 4 straight at plus money I liked. But he had 4 last game. He had 6 a game prior in the series. I don't mind maybe going for a ladder on Asar blocks.
All right. Tobias Harris' PRA has been very good in the fact of they don't have anybody else to go to. So continue to go to Tobias Harris, even though he's not shooting the ball great. He's getting 20 attempts per game. So that gives you room for opportunity. He's had 20 plus points in the last 4 games. He's been over his 25.5 PRA in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games against the Orlando Magic. He's a big body, strong body, veteran guy that can understand, how to get to his spot and try to be able to score. And yeah, Tobias Harris is not the best player, but he's getting the consistent workload as the second option on this team because they don't have anybody else to go to. It's just Cade Cunningham. So Tobias Harris over 25.5 PRA as they really don't have any other option but for him to go out there and do stuff.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else?
Well, I'm going to ask, if you're picking Orlando to cover, does that mean you're picking Banchero to actually have a decent rebounding game or a decent stat line? Because he was terrible last game.
Yeah, he should have a pretty solid stat line. I don't think it might be anything heavy. It could be I could see him with a 20 and 9 and maybe even 5, 6 assists in there somewhere.
It's more about the volume. I'm just wondering if he goes out there, game 7 just says, I'm taking 25 shots, whether you like it or not. That's kind of my thoughts there on Paolo.
I would take a PRA on Paolo.
Okay.
As I would do with Cade. They really don't have any other option but for them to go out there and do all that.
Paolo's at 37.5. His points were at 23.5. That sounds about right to me, honestly. I didn't mind his rebounds, though. I think his rebounds could be interesting. His rebounds are at 8.5. He's had at least 9 in 3 of the last 4 games. Plus money, plus 102. It's actually plus 10 on. It's plus 110 on Novik. So I actually don't mind a Paolo potential 10 rebound game.
Shout out to Novik.
Yeah.
However, we're not talking about Novik right now. We're talking about Kalshi. Real money prediction market. Legal in a ton of states. They have a ton of trading options for your favorite sports: NBA, WNBA, all of that, MLB. Also, new Kalshi customers get $10 when they use that promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, KALSHI, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Underdog. Higher or lower your favorite player's fantasy stats over there at Underdog. All you got to do is pick them and you could win. 2 pick entries now pay 3.5x and 3 pick entries now pay 6.5x. Make sure you go tap in. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. Play just $5. Get $50 in bonus funds when you sign up with promo code NBA SGPN. All right. Next up. Nightcap, kind of. Afternoon cap. Evening cap for some. Toronto Raptors on the road. Going to play the Cleveland Cavaliers. The shot that rang true for Toronto citizens across the city. A super high up in the air. And then just gently falling down in the bucket. He got his moment. RJ Barrett in the kind of sort of hometown. But hometown team.
Good for him.
Yep.
Especially good for him.
Especially after telling James Harden that he took it as disrespect for coming near their bench. I love it. I love it when players get their moment after having a moment in the media. It just happened with RJ Barrett. It just happened with Jay McDaniels. I love when players get their moment on the court that after talking pseudo shit, not gonna say talking shit, but pseudo shit in the media. Cleveland's laying 8.5 to 11.5 is total. I have to say in that game, it was a large portion of the game where it was this is just completely over for Cleveland. They battled their way back and they found a way to take the lead only momentarily. And then, pretty much more Cleveland things happened. And here we are. Toronto is back in the series. The series technically has not started yet because the road team has not won a game all the home teams have won every single game. Scott, Cleveland is now laying 8.5. I mean, it's mirroring the same thought that I have for Detroit, Orlando, except maybe just a shift in mindset. Detroit and Orlando, I don't know if they can score points. I've seen Cleveland and Toronto honestly be able to score. The issue is I just have no trust in Cleveland Cavaliers at all whatsoever.
And a
I
reminder,
mean,
they were getting blown out at home in Game 5 before they made the comeback in the second half. So they weren't exactly like dominant in that game either.
yep.
And
so,
I'll point out one last thing, by the way, just before you continue your point.
No,
For
go ahead.
the actual spread, Toronto has covered 4 games in a row. Cleveland has not covered a spread since Game 2, which I feel like people have forgotten about because the home team has won every game, which is extremely rare nowadays because home court advantage means less and less as we move on, as we saw, for example, in Orlando last night and Houston last night. So we just tend to see a bunch of road wins at this point. Toronto, Cleveland, and OKC are the only 3 teams to not lose a home game yet this entire postseason. So I do want to point out, though, to go back once again before you finish your point, Toronto has covered 4 games in a row in the series.
Very much so. Very good point. Which adds to not trusting Cleveland. Cleveland not being able to get it done. Yes, they have moments where they look great, but they have a lot of moments where they also look really, really bad as well. Am I afraid of taking both of the dogs in 2 game sevens? Well, really, I'd be taking all 3 dogs because I'm not on the Boston Celtics today. So is there a little bit of fear for doing all of that? Yeah, possibly. But oh man, I just Cleveland just continues to underperform. I feel like they've underperformed all season. I'm not necessarily, I mean, I shouldn't feel good about Donovan Mitchell and James Harden both in a game 7. I guess the only thing that they have going for them is they weren't up 3-1 at all. So I guess that makes you feel a little bit better. But if this Toronto defense is able to clamp down, or even if they're just able to score the ball, like they didn't even have Brandon Ingram in that game. Brandon Ingram did not play in that game.
He
And
might
yet,
not play again in this game, too.
yeah, and yet Toronto was still able to go out there and put forth a great effort. Like no Quickly, no Ingram. So this could have been, the one game where you're like, all right, no Brandon Ingram. We're all gonna buckle up here at home. We're not going home on our home court. We survive, and we're on to game 7, and they get demolished in game 7. But like, I just have to have faith in the Cleveland Cavaliers as a legit top 4 team to think that that's going to happen. I'm sorry, I just don't have that faith. I just really don't. Toronto at least has the grit. And so I'll say that they at the very least, keep this into a 2-possession game at the end of the game, maybe 3 with free throws. But 8.5 is a lot of points for me to lay with Cleveland. For one, you to say they haven't covered in 4 straight games, and 2, the fact that I just do not trust them.
Yeah, I do see the line has moved. It was 7.5. You could chop around depending on what number you actually want. I agree with you, though. I think it's a lot of points. Cleveland, we both have been out on Cleveland for months. And they picked up James Harden. They traded away Garland, and everyone was kind of going, ooh, shiny new toy. Let's see what happens. And we're both just like, this is just not going to work out. And so far this postseason, they've looked very up and down. Mitchell has not been good for the last couple of games. Harden actually was pretty good last game as he almost had a triple-double. He did his best out there. Mobley was great in Game 6. I'll dare Mobley to do that again because we know Mobley has been a pretty up-and-down player his entire career, but he was great. And he had the game he had the go-ahead layup the game-tying layup, in regulation there. But I do think it's a lot of points. Now, I did pick Cleveland in 7 before the series started, mainly because everyone was counting Toronto out, and I still can't stand Cleveland. I think both teams are just not very good. So I thought it was going to be a war, and we got that for this series. But, yeah, I'll go with the points as well. Cleveland's a team that I just don't trust enough to be there. We've seen Harden blow a bunch of Game 7s before. I'm not picking a James Harden masterclass in Game 7. Mitchell might be injured. We'll see. The efficiency's not been good for him. I did cash his over 4.5 rebounds last game, so I appreciate that. But the point is, if I don't have complete confidence in your best two players showing up for this type of environment, I'm not laying 8.5. Like, that's out of the question. Toronto might win the game. I still don't trust their offense in late game situations. Yes, I know Barrett hit the crazy three-pointer at the end, but when you really look back on it, it was a grenade 35-foot three-pointer because Barnes just handed him an absolute chuck. He didn't have a choice, and it went in. The fourth quarter was disgusting for Toronto. They couldn't score the entire fourth quarter. The last couple of possessions were an RJ Barrett grenade fadeaway three-pointer and another miss at the end. They got lucky. Barnes went to the free throw line to actually take a lead again because the fourth quarter was pretty disgusting for Toronto as they scored, I believe it was, I'm trying to remember how many points they actually scored. They scored 12 points in the entire fourth quarter of that home game. So Cleveland did ramp it up defensively. Yeah, eat a W, James Winston. They did end up, once again, ramping it up defensively. It was easily the best quarter of defense that Cleveland's played all postseason. They were really dialed in. The problem was the offense sucked. So I see a pretty similar story to what I had for the Pistons game. I like the under. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. We saw both teams get to, I believe it was a combined 208 at the end of regulation in Game 6. Mm-hmm. I think that Toronto's offense can get clamped by this team. We've seen Cleveland's offense get clamped by Toronto on a couple of occasions as well. I see a low-scoring game, but I do think 8.5 is too many. If you're picking Mitchell or Harden to have a monster game, I can see it. But I think we'd agree right now, objectively speaking, the best player in this entire series from start to finish has easily been Scotty Barnes. Yep, I don't think it's close. Barnes has been the best player in this series because he's also great defensively, which can give him a lot of extra value. And I think you're looking at Barnes, who can get to the free throw line. He can help out with, once again, rim protection. Murray Boyles has been great. Allen's been very hit or miss. Mobley's been up and down as well. And Mitchell's been pretty terrible the last couple of games. I also want to ask you, for this matchup, who do you think has the better coach? Because Atkinson has been very unimpressive in this series. Look, I don't mind Darko. I think Darko's done pretty well.
Hey, look, man, when Darko got hired, we was like, Darko.
Yeah, like, who's this European guy? What's happening?
Yo, I don't know, bro. Darko be coaching them up, bro. I still, like, this Toronto team, somebody said in the chat, Toronto's too small. I agree. I think Toronto's way too small.
But Cleveland doesn't do enough to capitalize on it.
And we're 3-3 on the series. Like, they got
look at the matchup on paper, and it should be like Cleveland and arguably 5 or 6. But I thought Cleveland would mess around and they'd lose a couple of games. But Atkinson has done, in my opinion, a really poor job, especially in late game situations. Now, people got mad at him for the turnover at the end, where Schroeder chucked the ball to Mobley and it went off his hands. I'm not going to – I mean, they had 2 timeouts. I get that. But also, Schroeder, why are you chucking the ball up court to Evan Mobley in the final 10 seconds of a close game? Like, I didn't really understand the thought process by Schroeder there. But, yes, you had 2 timeouts. You could have used a couple of them. So, yes, I think that Atkinson messed up. But also, Schroeder, like, they're going to try to foul you, get it together. I think that's also a player issue. But I think Darko has been the better coach in this series. I like Darko. I think Darko's actually pretty good. Now, the end of regulation possessions, once again, were very ugly offensively, which was a bit of coaching there. But at the same point, I think he's out-coached Atkinson with an inferior team. I like Darko. I think he's done a good job. So you can argue the coaching edge is in favor of Toronto.
You talked about Jamal Mosley and JB Bickerstaff in the last series. Kenny Atkinson is another coach that if this does not go their way, he's probably on the chopping block. Potentially on the chopping block regardless, but probably on the chopping block if he's not. I'm with you. I think Darko's the right side of things. All right. Total is sitting there at 211.5.
I already said my stance on this.
Game 7 unders. I'm not going against the game 7 unders. We got 3 of them. I bet under in all 3. We're not even going to play that game. Player props. I mean, it's got to be Scotty Barnes something, right?
I was thinking about the rebounds for him here, but I know they've not been that great recently, but I have to imagine, as it was mentioned before, Cleveland being bigger, I think Barnes, who might be out there for like 45 minutes. I mean, he's been your best player by a mile. I think you got to just leave him out there. He's been that good. I didn't mind his rebounds, maybe his blocks, but he's been phenomenal all series. I saw Casey mentioning if there's anybody whose stock has gone higher as a team than Toronto. I don't think Toronto's stock is higher. I think Scotty Barnes' stock is higher. I think Scotty Barnes has put himself definitely up there in terms of player rankings compared to where he was pre-series.
Mm-hmm.
But he's outplayed Mitchell and Harden consistently for the entire series. I'm not sure if it's a Toronto stock being boosted or Cleveland stock just being overrated by everybody besides us because we think this team stinks. So I'm not going to overreact too much to Toronto making it to Game 7. I had that. But Scotty Barnes has boosted his stock quite nicely. He's been great all series.
I mean, I just can't imagine for the Cavs' first series after that embarrassing effort against the Indiana Pacers being this Toronto team. Like, think about the 2 series that we've seen. This is what they look like. I like Scotty Barnes over 14.5 RA, Scott. I like your thought of the rebounds. I just threw the assist in there right there to just make sure they kind of balance each other out. Maybe if it is a lower assist game, he gets more rebounds, vice versa. Mobley's got to have a good game, right?
No comment. They need him to. I'll put it that way. Like, I don't know if James Harden's going to show his Game 7 normal self again and completely ghost a couple of quarters, but Mobley was insanely good in Game 6. I hope for his sake he can replicate that, but I'll put it this way. I am skeptical. That's the key word I'll use for Mobley here and the entire Cavs team. I'm just skeptical that they can actually show up in this environment. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. Toronto's playing with house money. Shouldn't have even won Game 6. They got house money on their hands.
I'll go back to Mobley over 16.5 points.
I have a couple of props, but I'll let you.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Drop your so I'm going to go back to all reliable in the series. I've been on Mobley under blocks, which has been very good for me. Under 1.5 blocks, minus 117. He's had less than 2 blocks in 12 of his last 15, less than 2 blocks in 10 of his last 12 games against Toronto. We know that Mobley's a good rim protector, but Toronto knows it. Like, Toronto does a good job of avoiding him so he can potentially avoid punting away shots. I don't mind the under blocks again. Once again, he's gone under this in an insane hit rate. In 10 of the last 12 against Toronto, he's gone under. Minus 117, sign me up. And it is a role player that I actually like a lot. I loved him at Houston. But Shed on Toronto, I like his under PR at 10.5. It's at minus 104. Now, Shed is there mainly for defense. He's going to be guarding Harden or Mitchell on the perimeter. The rebounds are completely non-existent. So he's probably going to get no rebounds. Now, he was in foul trouble late in the game. He fouled out, then they overturned it because he drew that offensive foul on Dean Wade. I believe it was in overtime or at the end of regulation. But he's had less than 10 and he's had less than 10 PR in 9 of the last 11, less than 11 PR in 13 of his last 16 road games. But he's there for one reason and one reason only. Defense. You're going to hound Harden. You're going to hound Mitchell. Basically full court press them for the entire game. Kind of like what Minnesota did with Clark in Game 6 against Denver, where they just threw him out there to cause havoc defensively. That's what Shed does. He might shoot a little bit, not exactly a great shooter. He's had a couple of games where he's kind of gotten going, but it's mainly been underwhelming. But he's there to be a defensive pest first and foremost. That's where his energy goes. I like the under 10.5 PR.
All right. What's the other one?
The other one was the Mobley one. 1.5 blocks, but that's all I got.
All right. Well, that's it. So time. Before we get to Lot Dog, Prop, Underdog, got to talk to people about Novik. What'd you say? That was the Paolo Banchero rebounds play? You can get over there plus money.
I think you mean rhythm.
Oh, rhythm. Oh, well.
You can do it out of order if you want, but
no, it's okay. It's okay. We'll do rhythm. My bad. Got ahead of myself. Fish a data tool for dominating NBA, WNBA startup, MLB, and golf. Make sure you go check out Rhythm. Their models will help you cash in, or you can go build your own models, play around with the sliders, figure out what you like, and get you a system that works. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. Download Rhythm and use the promo code SGPN25. Now we're talking about Novik, America's #1 sports prediction market. You know you're getting the best prices on the market with Novik. Paolo Banchero, you talked about it, his rebounds juiced plus money over there. Make sure you go check it out at Novik. Download the Novik app. Get $50 when you spend $5 when you use our promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novik, promo code SGPN. All right. Lock dog prop. Lock. I will lock up the under 202.5 in Detroit and Orlando. No points scored there. Dog. I think that Toronto has outplayed Cleveland for a majority of the past 2 games, despite it being 1-1. I'm going to take a random stab and say anything Cleveland does in game 7, they're probably doing it from behind. And nobody's expecting that. So I will take Toronto in the first half plus 203.
Okay.
I think Toronto comes out with energy. Scotty Barnes is dominant. And it's just Cleveland doing Cleveland things. And even if the Cavs win this game, they probably don't look good doing it. So that's just me buying into my fate of Toronto and putting some dollars behind it. Nothing much, but I'll take Toronto in the first half. Prop will be wow. Give me the Scotty Barnes over 14.5 rebounds and assist play. He's been really, really good. He's basically flirting with triple-double status. Maybe he even gets into the triple-double round this game. Give me the over 14.5 on the RA for Scotty Barnes. Been over in his last 3 games.
Cool. For the lock, same thing as you. We're going to double lock the under in the Magic and Pistons game. I see 203. I'll take that at minus 110. I have to. I mean, we saw how ugly the last game was. I'm not sure either team gets to 100 points. So I got to go under here. If Detroit routes them, Orlando might not get to 90. So I do like the under in that game as my lock. For my dog, same game, actually. Give me Paolo Banchero over 9.5 rebounds at plus 155. He had 10 rebounds last game. The potentials have been quite good. He's had at least 17 potential rebounds in 3 of the last 4. He's played in 1 game 7 in his career, and he had 38 points and 16 rebounds. So give me him playing probably 45 minutes in this game. Star power, once again, star performance. I think that even if he struggles with his shot and goes like 4 for 20 again, at least he's going to be out there for a ton. And with Franz not playing, he has to play arguably every minute of this game. Give me Paolo over 9.5 rebounds at plus 155. For my prop on this episode, I am going to go with, what do I want to go with here? It's going to have to be the Toronto game because I really don't want to pick 3 plays from the same game. So based on that, I'm probably going to end up going with the, you know what? I'll go for it. Give me the Shed under 10.5 points and rebounds at minus 104. I think that he's going to be there for defense. Offensively, they want the ball mainly in Barrett's hands or Barnes's hands. Shed might get a grenade or 2, like he did at the end of regulation with that double clutch shot at the end, but mainly not there for offense. The rebounding's not there either. Give me Shed to just only focus on defense under 10.5 PR at minus 104.
All right, underdog. I have Banchero higher 8.5 rebounds. I have Barnes higher 14.5 rebounds and assists. We do not have a Shed points and rebounds option.
Do they have Mobley blocks? Because I'll go for the lower on that.
Let's see. Blocks.
If they have the lower.
They do have the lower, and it's spicy, Scott. Let's go with it. So, Paolo Banchero higher 8.5 rebounds. Evan Mobley lower 1.5 blocks, and Scotty Barnes higher 14.5 rebounds and assists. At that, underdog shake it up, and it's 6.36x. Yes, $100 gets you $636 over there. Underdog Fantasy. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN. Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
Not really. Game 7 speaks for itself. We'll see if Tatum plays tonight, but either way, 3 Eastern Conference Game 7s. Love the NBA playoffs, and I'm happy that the first round was so competitive. Second round, spoiler, not so much on paper, but we'll see what happens.
And the next time you hear from this podcast, you will be hearing about the second round games. as we close out the first round here. He's at Reichel Radio. I'm at really round underscore. Make sure you give us a follow at SGPN NBA, youtube.com/NBA Gambling Podcast. And give us a like, comment, subscribe over there. 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcast, Apple or Spotify, does not matter. With that, that is it. I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just going to end it like this. We are out of here.